And hi, this is Paul Gibbons. This is my answer to the question, what's the one thing I can do as a team leader to make myself more effective? So in my view, in a list of management and leadership skills, planning accountability, setting vision, delegating work, managing time, feedback is the top of that heap. It's the most important. Why is that? It allows the leader to develop their team. And if you're constantly developing and expanding the capacity of your team to perform, you're doing an amazing job. Also, in a culture where teammates give feedback to each other, as well as just the manager giving top-down feedback, the development process in the team can be greatly accelerated. So from my point of view, wherever your team is now, if you can get better, first at giving feedback yourself, and then at creating a feedback culture where you can honestly, respectfully, with dignity, give feedback to one another, you've got an amazing team on the way. So most managers, if I can be vulgar, suck at it. They do extremely poorly. Why is that? Everybody, 100% of the people in the world, shy away from giving difficult messages to people. We are stingy with our acknowledgments, or with our celebrations, with our gratitude, with our praise, and we say non-specific things like, "Oh, nice job," which helps nobody. Or you may say something like, "My teammates are really good," and that's a cop-out. A key leadership skill is to be able to look at your high performers and take even them to the next level. So you need to be like a golf coach who looks at a golf swing. If I look at a golf swing, they all look the same to me. But if an expert looks at a golf swing, they can dissect various ways in which it might not be good. And that's what you need to do as a leader, is you need to become a better observer of people and how they perform in the workplace, much like you need to go from someone who's not a great observer of golf swings and someone who's an expert observer of golf swings, if I've just destroyed the use of that metaphor by overusing it. So here are some guidelines for giving feedback really well. You're really going to have to stretch yourself when you start doing this. It's going to be hard emotionally. You're going to, oh my God, how can I say these things? But here's the most important thing to remember when you give feedback. How is this going to be useful to them? So if you're saying something to get it off your chest, that's a very poor reason. Keep it to yourself, grow up, and think about how you can develop this person. You can say anything in a caring manner, even some very harsh things in a caring manner for the sake of their development. And if your relationship is poor with them, you can say almost nothing, because even praise, and if your relationship is poor with them, strikes them as inauthentic. So in teams with very high trust and performance, feedback should be balanced. A 1-to-1 ratio of encouraging feedback, not the, oh, you're a team player, but how are they a team player? So you got to balance encouraging feedback and developmental. But in new relationships or team, you want to do more encouraging, praising than you do the development stuff, excuse me, while you're building rapport and trust. So here are the 6 elements for giving great feedback. The first step is to establish context and rapport. As I said, the terrible reason for giving feedback is getting something off your chest. If the feedback is about you, or your feelings, or your opinions, or your values, it just won't be acted upon or heard. The context for giving feedback must be, how will this help this person? How will it help them succeed? For example, we work on a team together, and I know one of the things that's most important to you is that next year's promotion and being perceived as a reliable, effective leader. Would you mind if I gave you some feedback that might help you along that way? And you can see how that lands with someone that's going, wow, it could be useful to me. I want to get promoted, and this person sees something that will help me get promoted. And so that brings us on to the second part, is permission. So here is step number 2. You always ask permission before delivering challenging messages. So sometimes in some relationships it's taken for granted. My suggestion to you is you never take it for granted. Even if you're the boss and they're the subordinate, it may not be the right time, they're in a place where I can hear it. You always respectfully say, you've done some great work, but is there something, I see something that might be getting in your way. Would you mind if I offered your point of view? That gets them listening to the conversation in the right way, rather than just kind of unloading. The next thing is you want to offer them, this is thing number 3, some data. So tell them what you see. What's the behavior? Not being late, not being in communication, not speaking up in meetings, not being prepared, not finishing things on time, whatever it might be, building rapport with customers, not being proactive enough, whatever it is, you want to give them the behavior first. For example, during our last few project meetings, you've been more silent than usual and haven't seemed 100% prepared or on top of the content of the meeting. That might be good. That's good data feedback. They might be silent for a different reason, but you're offering them the data first that they've been silent, and then you're offering them some sort of interpretation of that later on. So the fourth thing is the impressions. So they may have been silent, but what impression does that give? That might give the impression that they're unprepared. That might give the impression that they're disinterested. The data, the behavior, affects how they and the team perform and how they are perceived. So make the link for them. For example, because of this, I'm not sure we're putting our best foot forward right now, and you've created the impression that you're making other things a priority. Again, you're talking about your impressions. They may not be truth. What you see is the behavior, but the link between the behavior and their motivations and their intentions and the effect of their behavior is something that's more interpretive. And then finally, you want to get onto cost or opportunity. So that's the thing number 5. So people who say, have been quiet since they were 5 years old. Like if you just say to someone, oh, you're very quiet. As I often get that, like when I do this in classes, something like that. You're quiet, you should speak up more. They know that. They've been quiet since they were 5. To give them that feedback is you're quiet or you could contribute more. It's completely useless. They know that, right? They're 30 years old. They've been hearing this for 25 years. What do you think it costs them that they care about? What opportunities are they missing? And that's where the rubber hits the road, right? So they may want to get promoted, or they may want to be more effective with clients, or they may want a leadership position one day in the team, or they just may want to be perceived better and more powerful and more effective in the team. So you need to get down with them, and this might be a conversation, is like, what's quietness costing you? What do you care about? And what does quietness cost you that you care about? For example, if you want to move into a supervisory role, you'll need to create the impression that you can get your views listened to and that you can hold your own among very vocal senior leaders. All of a sudden, whoa, there's a cost to me being quiet. I've been quiet since I was in 5. So how am I going to work on that? I'm going to work on opportunities. And then you can have a conversation about how can I support you? Like if we're in meetings together, we can kind of make each other a little signal. Or do you want to give me feedback at the end of the meeting if I thought you stepped up? And you may want to start with just like one contribution, one additional contribution per thing. But again, you're improving that person's performance all the time. And then finally, there's support. And you want to close this down and you want to offer them a chance to support. So whether you're a leader, whether you're a colleague, or whether you're a team member, or whether you're a client, or whoever your relationship with this person is, you want to say, look, how can I help you here? Can I continue to observe you? Can I continue to give you feedback here? Is there some way I can make it easier for you to improve? And this is the opportunity also to thank them. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing my point of view. And check in with them. Would you like more from me? So all this may seem like really difficult, but those 6 steps are what you need to learn, I think, to give more effective feedback. And, I've been doing this for a long time. And when people begin to try these out, they find themselves being more effective for their staff and building teams that are increasingly high performance. And doing that, you're really going to increase your power and effectiveness as a leader. So thanks for listening. This is Paul Gibbons signing off. Talk to you soon.